King Julian! Striker! King Julian!
King Julian!
King Julian!
Who's gonna be more then?
Are you streaming, Gersh?
I am.
It was a joke on
Oh, I
Gersh.
didn't even know you were streaming.
I've only been streaming for a minute and 15 seconds.
Well, Gershom is a faggot.
Big if true.
Gershon's a fag. He's a big fat fag. He's the biggest fag in the whole wide.
Aren't you glad you're
doing that so
streaming?
Magnaheim's dream of Gershom being behind him comes true.
I mean, he is Illuminati.
Hey. Which means I'm behind everything.
Mag is top confirmed.
Top white. Porque no
Top
los
hat.
dos. And lo mismo.
Rapping in some other language.
It's what it sounds like to me.
Why not both at the same time?
Other languages are prohibited on our white server. Anybody who isn't the Eternal Anglo isn't white either.
Okay, let's see. Let's just get rid of the levies.
Black
Because
dress
they're costing us
with the tights underneath.
53
Fucking disconnect. Fucking cunt.
She's
You
dress.
fucking piece of shit.
per turn.
What a fucking shit controller. What a fucking
But she
autistic
ain't got no
retarded
knee.
controller. That's fucking annoying.
He's got
That's
money
really
from her
fucking annoying.
parents and a trust fund back here.
Fucking hell. I'll
Damn.
fucking clamp your sister's wheelchair.
What about my sister's wheelchair? Striker, why you no play Don't Starve?
Because he has good taste.
What, Striker? No.
No, yeah, you're right, he doesn't. Oh, fucking barrier there? Really? Why don't you just fucking put a landmine there then? Fuck.
I'm a vegetarian and I ain't fucking scared of him. Don't trust a hoe.
Butters is playing Civ 5.
Man, he loves that game, honestly.
Really?
Civ 6 was free the other day.
Civ 5's
Yeah.
better.
I got Civ 6. I missed out on the Grand Theft Auto, though.
I don't know that Civ 5 is better.
Oh, I think so, definitely.
We've also
Civ
played
3
Civ
is the
5
best.
more. I mean, Europa Universalis, if we really want to get into gritty, nitty-gritty campaign modes.
No, best strategy game of all time, Stellaris.
I would still say Europa.
No, I mean, I need to get into Europa Universalis more. I bought it the other day. It's still a little bit intimidating.
Which one did you get, though?
4. I played 3
No,
last. I did play
The
quite a bit.
first
3.
one. The first one is...
Oh, now you're just being a hipster. No game
No,
that old.
no, I'm not.
I'm
No. Okay, the manual for the game, the manual that came with the game, basic user instructions, was over 200 pages and
That doesn't
dense.
make it
No
good.
pictures,
That doesn't
nothing.
make a
It was
game good.
no. What did I say specifically? I said if you want to get into nitty gritty campaigns, you can never beat Europa Universalis.
Oh,
I'm not
with
saying
you.
it's like, oh, go ahead and it's the best game everyone ever is going to love it. No,
No,
it
no,
takes
I'm with
like
you now.
3 hours before you can even play it. But
That was the problem with old games. They weren't exactly easy to break into.
some of them, yeah.
I mean,
It's like,
you
okay,
know,
here
with
you
the
have a
Elder
text
Scrolls series
entry
and that,
place.
like Daggerfall and Arena, like most people never make it out of the first dungeon.
There was an old one called Iceman, and it's legit hard to get off the starting island. And it's actually supposed to be like a naval submarine simulator.
But the thing is that you see, I blame old games for ruining my enjoyment of contemporary games, because old games were like fucking super difficult, and now nearly everything I play these days is like either two signposts
Dark Souls! Dark Souls!
Well,
Oh,
no,
sorry,
you see,
it's a crit.
I never played Dark Souls, but even just basic strategy games and that were like ridiculous. Like some of the
I'm not even
puzzles
gonna
were
buy
great,
it because I
like
know I
that.
wouldn't enjoy it because it's so freaking difficult.
Yeah, no, I mean I like difficulty in games, but I don't like Dark Souls difficulty. Like I like whacking Mass Effect campaigns onto the maximum difficulty and only using pistols. Like not you have to
Okay,
work
Halo
around
1.
every boss. I actually have not completed that yet. Me and Adam have been doing it, but neither of us
You know, I
motivate.
haven't finished that again yet either.
Why don't you come and play it with me and Adam so you can like actually inspire us with your will to do things that are difficult for you?
I'd play it.
Right, and it's not so. Our issue with Halo CE is not that we're bad at the combat; it's that we get lost, and that is one of the problems with old games. Is that signposting you to where you need to go didn't exist. It's like working out, and it's like
It wasn't that
Morrowind's the
hard in that one.
fucking worst fight. Like you get a quest of Morrowind, it's like it's a million fucking yards from the toadstool that's got a 5-degree fucking inclination to the right. You know, past the
Here's
fucking
here's
dead
this
end.
awesome jump scroll. It's just when you jump, you're gonna die
Oh, yeah.
unless you perfectly time the scroll use on the down slope.
What's that? You definitely hit someone with your two-handed weapon? Well, unfortunately, that only had a 5% chance to hit. So you
Yeah,
did.
unfortunately, this is Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
You need to roll greater than a 5. Oh, and by the way, you're using a D21.
Honestly, Morrowind makes me take 2d6 emotional damage. Like, fucking... was fine, because if you actually hit something, you hit it. And if it just didn't want you to do much damage based on a dice roll, then you didn't do much damage, but at least you fucking hit something. You know?
Makes me want to play Tiny Dice Dungeon.
Well, you've got tiny dice, lol, small balls.
Yeah. I'm getting mad at this stupid Discord bot on another server. It's got scratch off lottery, and it'll tell you that the fucking scratch off costs like 700 coins. It pays out 1,500, and it's got a 45% win chance. Problem is, I've lost 7 out of 8 that I fucking bought.
Ugh,
45% my ass.
Are you a gambler?
IR now. I mean, it's literally the bot is called blackjack, so gambling's the whole point of it. It does nothing but gambling games. It was just something to do to pass the time, and now it's something that I like spend time. And then tomorrow I'll be, gambling away my life savings.
Concern intensifies.
Holy shit! Your whole camera just flashed green for a split second. What the fuck?
That's my psychic abilities.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Fucking wall.
Look at me. I am the green screen now.
I'm the green screen now.
Do you know Dewey?
I do know the way. Spit on the first screen.
I'm sorry. The Atlanta mayor, his last name is Bottoms.
What if he tops though?
I knew a girl named Bottoms.
It's her. It's Keisha Lance Bottoms.
Oh, well, I would hope
Someone just shared that on the Liberty Gamers and the politics chat. Kevin and Horror Queen talking about some shit I don't care about. I don't know. I didn't read any of it except for that. It's after 9. I don't care about politics, right? It's nice to be white.
Fuck! Ah, your mother put soy sauce on your fucking testicles.
No, joke's on you. My balls were always soft.
Suck on my chocolate salty balls.
Hey everybody, have you seen my balls? They're big and brown and salty. If you ever need to pick me up, just put my balls in your mouth.
Oh, jeez.
I want like a
You
casual
fucking Kinderschändler.
Huh?
You want a casual what now?
What?
Casual sex.
Kinderschändler's just a
Join
German
me.
word for child molester.
No, I thought he said he wanted a casual something.
No, I said I want a casual game to play.
That's why I'm playing
Like-
Rome Total War.
I kind of want to go play Don't Starve the single player version, but I'm like too tired and annoyed, and I'm like, I just want something that doesn't require brain power.
I hear
I
you.
want somewhere I just click and mine things or something.
Minecraft.
And I go, yay, look, I have 65 of them now.
Oh.
I'm not particularly on a Minecraft server.
Why
at
are
the
people
moment.
on Liberty Nerds community sharing furry porn?
I think you just answered your own question.
Yep.
Did I?
Because Liberty Nerds community.
Yeah, Liberty
No,
Nerds
I mean,
community. So Liberty Nerds community is exactly two things. Look how nerdy I am, and look how much of a troll I am, and that's it.
They were so busy wondering if they could that they never asked if they should.
Also, a lot
You
of it
know,
is just
that might be the
narrative
best use
driven.
of that
I'll be
phrase
like,
ever.
I'm depressed.
Yeah, that one too. But
Yeah. I'm
Have you
going
guys
back to
seen
self-harming
the,
today.
Have you guys seen? Yeah, what the fuck's up with that? Like, just do it. If you're considering self-harm, just go ahead and do it. No one will miss you.
You won't.
Did you guys see the CNN building being heavily vandalized?
Yep. Good old Atlanta.
Hot brings a whole
It's
new
funny when
meaning
your
to the
people
phrase
turn on you.
Hotlanta.
The best thing is that the
Well.
mayor encouraged people to protest, but said just do it peacefully, and everyone's like, "I'll fucking show you," you know.
Mhm. Hey, Chief.
Yeah.
How's the oxygen coming along?
I'm starting to figure it out.
he's found
Yeah?
out that it's actually included.
Hey,
Believe it or not, it is. Yeah.
oh, by the way, there was a fucking predator drone being
Firefight!
flown over Minneapolis yesterday.
A Predator what?
There was a predator drone being flown over Minneapolis yesterday.
Minneapolis.
No surprise. You know what? I might play some curveball. Maybe.
Ooh.
Bro, I'm fucking tired and shit.
Ooh. Ah!
I seriously thought for a second that you were about to like break out into song.
Are you winning, son?
There's like several songs that start off with some like random screaming noise like that.
Yeah, like Gershon's favorite, the one that cannot be mentioned lest he get angry.
Ninja? Wait, what are we talking about?
What?
I wasn't paying attention.
I can't get these memories out of my mind.
I was always you whenever it gets brought up. Like now.
Huh. I wish they would put the fucking war bonds back in Heroes and Generals.
Yeah, that would bring
Yeah,
me
they
back to the
fucking
game
asshole.
pretty quickly.
Whoa, they got rid
It's
of
still in my
the
favorites
useless
list.
feature? Wow.
No, they got rid of a feature that they realized was going to basically
make them
start
any
costing them money at a certain. The way it was set up, you could earn interest on war bonds. So, if you were smart enough to realize, hey, if I put $200 in this game, I never have to pay for subscription. You earn infinite subscription constant.
Yeah. Which,
And then,
honestly,
eventually
it would have
the
been a
Yetmans were
sure
like-
way to make sure that I spent $200 in the game at one point.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, a lot of people spent that $200, and then after a while, they were like, "Oh no, we're gonna cancel that." So now those people spend $200, and they have to keep paying subscriptions
I mean,
still afterwards.
I would
Except for those of us who play.
I would start playing Heroes and Generals again, but I'm concerned about IO returning and talking about how he is a D&D true neutral.
believe it or not, this is actually one of the better games to play with IO. He's really good at it, and it's actually not bad.
No,
He's
I'm
really
not
good.
even
He's
kidding.
really good at this game,
I'm
and it's
kidding,
good. You
I'm
follow him
kidding, I'm
around.
kidding.
No, I'm just saying, you follow him around, you fucking win. It's just easy mode.
I know, but that's not a
Yeah.
game for me. You know, that was the problem with Rust. Like he spends
Yeah, I
so
was
much
gonna say
time.
that's not fun. Just getting carried by someone isn't fun.
Yeah.
He's not good at pacing his progressions that you can keep up with him, and he
If he
sinks
likes
like
the game, he's all
5,000
in.
hours. Yeah, he sinks like 5,000 hours in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, his
I do
work
want to get him
schedule is
playing
different.
War Thunder, so there is finally a game that I can kick his ass at, though, because I'm convinced that nobody here will ever
Street
be.
Fighter, Sigma Chi plus Alpha.
Did you say Street Fighter?
Yeah, the Sigma Chi plus Alpha was
Funny
the good
story, right?
one.
So, one of my friends who I ended up living with last year, like, you know, we met through a friend of a friend. And we were like at the pub and that. Anyway, you know, you always walk people back, well, women back, make sure they're safe and that. Well, in the halls of residence, there was a Street Fighter thingy. So we're like, oh, do you know what? We'll have a game of Street Fighter before we part ways and that. She fucking kicked my ass at it, and that was the point at which I respected them. I got my ass kicked by a drunk chick at fucking
Wow.
Street Fighter. Fuck my well.
There you go, Gresham. All right, you might be proud of me. I logged into what do you call it? Here's in general. I clicked the war bonds were still out of the game. I typed in the chat, put the fucking war bonds back in. I said, and now I'm gonna log off for 3 more months.
Lol.
Do you know what? I'm gonna re-download it.
I mean, that's basically what I do. Normally, I just ask, like, I was like, has there been any news on the war bonds? Or like, what's war bonds? Like, never mind.
I'm re-downloading it. I'm re-downloading it.
I don't even play it. I'm not even kidding. I literally log in every 3 to 4 months and see if the war bonds are in the game yet. And they may never put them back in. But what's
they're
annoying
not
me is
going
that the
to.
fucking screen is still there. The screen's still there. It just tells you the war bonds are not in at this time.
It's because all the people that have them.
Nobody has them anymore.
Nobody has them. They've been out of the game for like 2 years or some shit.
Yeah,
like
and
at
the
least a year
longest
and a
war
half.
bond that you could buy was like what, 6 months?
I think so. I think it was pretty close to that, somewhere around that.
Yeah, I mean it was either 6 months or a year.
6 months.
They've been gone for 2
Yeah.
years. You can't have
Yeah,
a war
basically.
bond anymore. They're either all paid out or they rescinded them and gave you whatever gold that you had already invested in back.
Exactly. And it's 2 different screens though, because there's a screen where it can show ones that I have or ones that I can collect, and then there's a screen for purchasing. It's a whole different screen, and it just pops up and it's like no, you can't purchase war bonds at this time.
So, I am currently living in the 24th century.
We can barely hear you, Dan.
To where my
I don't know that is he talking to us?
I am, yes.
It's like your mic changed.
You put your headset on backwards.
Yes.
Okay, I heard him mention headset, so I had a feeling that's what he was saying.
I am living in the 24th century.
No.
Nah. I was just fucking
Well, bring me back a mobile emitter.
litty.
Wait,
What
no,
if
that
I-
mobile emitter was created in our time. Fuck.
No, I'll bring you back loads of Bitcoin, which is worthless in the 24th century, but is incredibly worth at this moment in time.
Or was it actually created? It may not be created.
It's
It may have
got
been
non-sequential
discovered.
numbers, so it's also worthless in this century.
It's funny because Bitcoin is a stupid fucking investment.
Well, now you tell me.
Well,
Wait, no, you didn't, did you?
I mean, yeah. We've had conversations about this.
you should have told me this $6,000 ago.
I think I've always been against investing in Bitcoin.
I
haven't
I think I bought Bitcoin before I knew you.
Probably.
If I would have bought
Well, that
Bitcoin the first time I wanted to buy Bitcoin, I would have tens of thousands of dollars more than I do now.
Alright. And if my uncle had tits, he'd be my aunt.
Well, my roommate talked me out of it, and
Oh. But
I-
you've never forgiven him.
I know I mentioned it to him almost every time I talk to him. Like, hey, you remember that time that you talked me out of buying Bitcoin when it was like $120?
And he's like, yes, you mentioned it last week.
We don't talk that often.
You are the simp.
How you gonna be the guy that fucking dies from a slinger while you're in Testudo?
Oh,
Yeah. So the
I like
problem
to
with
imagine he's just unconscious.
the problem with Testudo is it doesn't actually work the way it's supposed to. God, they're fucking dying less often when they were just in a regular shield wall. Holy shit. You okay
What are you
there, buddy?
laughing about?
Uh, it's probably not something that's funny to any of you. It's like there's a radio message in Formula One, and then like one of the guys gets angry with the other one, basically. But it's funny because it's just like a shit show. And on that note, I'm going to fuck off and sleep until an inappropriate time in the day. Spend time with my family that ultimately I will forget. And then come back on in here in the subsequent evening to play Stellaris and get annoyed. Bye.
Later.
Dan log for tonight.
Yep, that's what what we understood him to say.
Well, I just missed him because I went AFK while starting up Kerbal Space Program. I didn't realize it was going to be extra fucking loud.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
There we go. Brought the music down to like 1% of what it was. I don't know why all my fucking games are starting windowed. It's really weird.
That is really weird.
Yeah, when y'all started up Don't Starve together, did it start in a fucking window mode?
Oh yeah, it did.
It did for me too. It used to be full screen, I'm pretty sure. Now Kerbal Space Program is doing the same thing. It started a window. Pretty weird. Let's see. I guess I gotta find the setting. I don't remember what my fucking resolution. Damn. Oh, I guess I go max resolution then. Cool. Although I do wish it would run in a fucking borderless window instead. I feel like that should just be standard on all games at this point.
Hey, how do you get polluted water?
How do you
Out of
get
water.
polluted water? What was the question?
How do you get polluted water out of water?
Oh, to turn the water back into polluted water?
To get it
Urine.
unpolluted.
Oh, unpolluted. The water sieve. You gotta run it through the water sieve. So if you have polluted water coming out of your toilet, you can run it straight into the water sieve, and it comes back as clean water, which you can actually then run into your sink and your. It's actually an infinite loop, and since urination actually generates water.
Well,
you
what if
actually
I have it in
generate
my
more
main water
than you use.
supply?
Oh, did you have a mix?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Good luck.
yeah, basically. There are some tricks you can kind of use, but they're kind of complicated. Basically involves like digging and. So here's the thing I'm going to tell you. Like I said about the gas, only one gas can occupy a square at a time. Likewise, only one type of liquid can occupy a square at a time. So you can kind of use that to your advantage.
Oh, so if I like
In certain
essentially block
situations.
that off.
Yeah, if you can block it off and then separate it out, and then you flatten it down and get the water, like enough of the water to go a certain way, so you can like pump it back in or mop it up and then dump it back
Pump
in
it.
somehow. And then until you get to the point where you have,
Hold it.
that one little bit of
Pop
polluted
it.
water, then you can mop it up and put it somewhere else. Yeah, it's really, really tricky. Trying to separate it out, basically.
Smash it.
Blocks.
Flick it. Twist it.
Blocks or digging
Poke.
or whatever. Yeah, if it happens to be like right on the edge or something, you might get lucky and you can just block it off real quick and before it kills you. So yeah, remember also about the pressure, just like like I said
Under
about pressure.
pressure.
If it's only a tiny little bit of polluted water, it's going to stay in one square because the volume of it is so small. But due to the way the game works, only that one substance can occupy that one square. Or if you have a lot of it, it might take up several squares, depending on what the water pressure is. Roughly 1,000 or so kilograms per square. Bum 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 ba-da-dum. Boom 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 boom.
How do you move all the edible food in a container to another container?
Let's see. You can set that other container to make sure that it accepts stuff. I don't know if there's actually a way to set it to actually move from one to the other. But you can set the new container to make sure it accepts all the stuff you want to put in it, and then set the old container. You can straight go in it and just set it to not accept it. And once you do that, all the shit of that particular category is going to fall out on the ground, and then you can sweep it. Or if you have some dupes that are set to just do tidying, then they'll do it automatically. But otherwise, you can just set a sweep command on it because you don't want to leave it on the ground for too long. It is food. It'll decay eventually over a few days or so. Depending on the type of food. Oh, remember what I was telling you about food being outside, like oxygen basically makes it decay faster even in the container.
I put in a
So
carbon
if
dioxide atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly. So if you could put it in a carbon dioxide pit. And just make sure your pit's like at least a few blocks deep. You don't want the pit to be just barely deep enough. Because remember with the remember it's make sure it's at least that. Maybe even 2 blocks is probably enough just for the container. You might want to go at least an extra block above the container some. Because what's going to happen is like if your oxygen in your base builds up, you know, the pressure of it's going to push the oxygen down into that pit, and it might get to your.
And your airlock.
That would work too, but the thing is, those airlocks, well, they only work when they're closed.
Double
as soon as you open
airlock.
that airlock up. Yeah, you can do that. You can actually make a double airlock, but then a little bit of it gets in every time, or if you want to get like super fancy, you can start putting like automated systems with pumps in the middle, so that you know a little bit of oxygen gets in it and it pumps that shit right back out. You know, until it'll literally pull a vacuum on the airlock every single time. There's a lot of advanced stuff you can do in this game. There's cool things. That is not needed at all, even for fucking space. You really don't need that. For space, I just put like a double airlock. You put a little, basically a little room. They go in. In fact, like when you first get to space, you can just build a little room as an airlock. Like just like a regular size room, like you would. What is it, like 64 tiles or something like that? And then later on, once you start getting spacesuits and shit, because you can just go in space and hold your breath to like do the first little bit of exploring if you want. You can't get very far with that. But once you start getting spacesuits and shit, you can put them in that room. They go in, they put on their spacesuit, and then they go through the next airlock. And yeah, you lose a little bit of air, but it ain't a whole lot. Also, it's so far away from my base, there's normally not too much air pressure at that point in the. Also, due to the way things happen, natural gases and things rise, so usually half of what escapes is just like some natural gas or some helium or some hydrogen or something like that. Actually, I don't know if there's. I feel like there is helium in the game. I don't remember for sure.
What do you fertilize with?
But there's.
Oh, I need dirt.
Yeah, you need dirt for fertilizing your basic plants.
Go dig!
Now remember to use the basic planter pot. Once you get up to like more advanced planter pots, some of them have there actually is really cool stuff where they can actually do automated watering for like other like more advanced plants that require water. So that's what the advanced ones do. They're basically tiles too, by the way. They're not just like the regular plant pots. They're actually tiles as well. So you can use them as the floor. And just run a fucking pipe through it, and it'll water all your. Actually, you might have to do like the toilets where you got to run the pipe on a different tile and then just pipe to it from each one. Because if you run a pipe through multiple inputs, from one to the next, like just daisy chain them, sometimes you get problems where it plugs up at one and it won't flow to the next or something. I don't remember the exact. There's a really weird order you can do it in, but certain times it works, sometimes it don't. Engineering. Pretty much. There's some really interesting things you can do in this game once you start learning some of the tricks of the trick. There's a cool trick, by the way, you can use to make water flow without a pump. Effectively, to tell you the gist of it, though, just like with your bathroom and toilet system, there's no pipe, there's no pump. Once you get water in it, primed with the pump, you just let it run, because water will flow from an output to an input on its own. So if you have a pipe system and there's a little bit of water in it, or any amount of water in it, and there's an output and an input, water will continue to flow from output to input, even if it's the same output input. Like if there's a little fitting you can use that has an output and input, and it'll just make the water circulate repeatedly, which sounds kind of useless, right? It's not good for your machines. It's not going anywhere, but you can make heat transfer loops doing. So you have this like loop that requires no electricity. It runs, cold water from the cold, through the cold biome or something, brings it to your base, and it runs, once it warms up, runs it back. And this is where the types of pipes come in handy once you start doing loops like that for heating and cooling stuff. You'll have insulated pipes, so you don't lose your heat or lose your cooling in the pipe, or also so it doesn't escape. Like, especially for different things, like if you're running really hot water through your base, you don't want it to heat the base up, so you use insulated pipes. But if you're trying to take the heat out of your base, you use like radiated pipes and stuff, and that'll absorb the heat from the base, and then it'll also expel the heat into the cooling biome. But of course, remember, water can freeze. Water frozen in a pipe will break. So you gotta be careful what kind of temperatures you run. There's a trick to it all. Now, the trick to go with that is to, water works to start with, but basically the trick is to not use water. Here's a cool trick, by the way, a really cool, really, really useful trick you're gonna want to know. polluted water freezes at a lower point than regular water for.
All that it works better than almost most
Yeah.
coolants.
So it actually works because it has really good capacity and it freezes lower temperature than water. So you can do a lot of cool things with it. It's generally what I would use for cooling until you can get some more advanced things. Oil has like a super high boiling point and a super low freezing point, so oil's not bad. But I think the capacity is not as good as water, if I remember correctly, or polluted water. Now, much later in the game, very much later, you can manufacture liquids and stuff, and you can make your own. It's actually called
Carbon skimmer, water in, polluted out into skimmer, and unlimited oxygen.
Well, assuming you have water.
I just need it started and primed.
What are you saying? A carbon skimmer? Wait, what
There's
does that
no
do?
math loss. It's a 1-to-1.
Hang on, something's that don't sound right. Something's
Contents. It takes 1,000 grams of water and outputs 1,000 grams of polluted water.
What, the carbon skimmer?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. All it does is convert it to polluted water, though, and it also inputs carbon, so it uses up, which at a certain point it also uses up electricity. So technically, it's using electricity and it's using carbon to make that polluted water, as I recall. So that is, I think that's the cost of it. So at this point, honestly, at most early to mid game, unless you're like super expert, carbon's something you generally want to get rid of. So it's kind of extra anyway. So not a terrible idea if you happen to want polluted water for something. Although generally you don't. There's generally enough polluted water in the map you can use for cooling hoops and things like that. But yeah, I was gonna say, carbon dioxide is something that's kind of extra anyway. Now, much later in the game, by the way, once you get down to the what do you call it, the oil biome, there's a thing called the slicksters. There's these little slimy creatures. They live at like boiling temperatures in the boiling hot oil biomes.
Oh shit.
But what they do is they actually excrete oil, but they feed on carbon dioxide. And it's very useful that they're already at the bottom of the map. So once you get down that far, and you have to have some of them, you can have, like, if you have a big enough air tunnel or whatever, some of your carbon dioxide will get down there. They can feed those guys. Keep in mind though, there's also boiling hot air down there, and it will creep its way back up into your bed. So that's another thing. The more you expand, the more heat you're running. Which not as terrible thing, because if you run into cold biomes, you utilize. And of course the Weezeworts. Weezeworts are your friend. Although I think they require some kind of like maintenance nowadays. I don't know if you have to feed them like dirt or something to keep them alive. I don't know. But either way, they generate cooling. Very few things in the game will generate cooling. I'm always in the mode where I want to play a game, but I'm not in the mood to play any of the games.
I know that feel, bruh.
It's pretty much how I live. Alright. I haven't played Tannenberg since the beginning of. That's it. I'm playing Tannenberg tonight. Yep. I've got almost half the achievements.
Nice.
It's like Heroes and Generals, except it hasn't pissed me off yet. So I'm gonna play it. And I also like the fact that it's mostly a mindless kind of game. I know it requires a little bit of focus and concentration, but it doesn't require much for strategy. You hide behind the wall and shoot enemies.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be the guy who runs around and does some planning, but you don't have to. In fact, as I've seen, the guy who stands around and shoots the enemies seems to get more points.
Yep.
fuck, I gotta remember. Their fucking layout is so. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. Let's see.
How does smart batteries work?
How does what? Smart battery. Okay, so now if that's probably not something you want right yet.
I'm gonna show you where I'm at.
Hang on, let's. Give me a second if I get to my audio options. It's loud. All these games, they're also loud. Okay, I turned it down to like 10%. All right. Oh, cool. All right. So smart battery. No, I'm serious though. Like, it's probably not. Well, actually, it could be something you might want. Okay. So, real quick, go to your power room. You can even pause the game if you want. I don't know if you're busy doing other stuff. So the double layer ventilation, nice. I like that. You probably don't need that. That thing doesn't put off that much heat. But what I am going to tell you now is, you probably don't want all those batteries, because remember, those batteries also put off more heat. But now here's the thing you might not know. I didn't even notice for like, I probably played the game for weeks, if not months, before I learned this. Every battery also has an electricity drain. Like, even with nothing else using it, it will drain itself over time. It'll drain the whole circuit. So the more batteries you have, you literally have more drain on your system. So here's what you're probably going to want to do. You take those 4 batteries that you're getting ready to build, probably cancel 3, if not all 4 of them, and actually put in a smart battery instead, and you can connect.
I don't have a smart battery yet. I still need to.
Okay. So here's the thing, though. Smart batteries. Well, I still wouldn't put so many batteries in there though, because they're gonna basically they basically suck up power and create heat. You know, 2 things you don't want.
So how many should?
So basically, you leave that spot there next to it, and just put your smart battery in that blank spot whenever you can.
Right here.
Yeah, just leave that empty until you can get your smart battery in, and then you're gonna have the automation wire. So basically, you can automate. Remember that, like the switch you were talking about? That's for automation stuff. You can do all kinds of automation and things. Actually, that might have just been a power switch. That might be a manual switch actually, where the dupes have to click it. But you can do automation switches and stuff. And
Sunscreen.
Yeah. See, I'm trying to see. There's going to be a whole category for automation if you look around. It's going to be a whole buttload. There you go, computers. That's it. Look at all those logic when you get into advanced automation, the 3rd one, with the little green things. Yeah, those are the good stuff right there. Filter gates. Yeah, if you know anything about programming.
Yeah, I'm in the fuck this shit.
Yeah, it's literally like programming type stuff. But now it's not that bad once you learn how to do it, or if you watch some videos. It's not that bad. I'll show you.
Yeah, and I know nor, XOR.
So go to the first category, smart home. So see the automation overlays would go down below that. Is that wire, right? Yeah. Automation wire. You're gonna need the automation wire, and then you'll need the smart battery. I think that might be it. And basically, your generator has an output or an input. Yeah, your generator has an input, and the smart battery has an extra little output. So basically, it's going to tell you, charge the battery to half, to 50%, right? And then shut the generator off automatically, so your dupes don't have to do it. So literally, your dupes won't have. Well, I guess I don't know if you've used the coal generator yet. The dupes turn it on and they fucking stand in front of it and run it like an idiot. So you put the automation in, and then it just runs itself, and it'll shut itself off when it needs to. So pretty cool stuff. But yeah, you basically connect the wire, and you'll have to figure out. There's a little slider on the battery where it's like, but. You know how whenever you're connecting the wires to things, how you see the little wire port, on the diagram, on the, what do they call it, the electrical overlay? You know what I'm talking about, Chief?
Second, fix.
Sure. You know how whenever you're wiring stuff up, you'll see the electrical overlay, and it'll show you like plug wire here. There'll be a little icon. The automation's the same way. You'll see there'll be a different place where you plug the automation into it.
Potential load of 1,000 watts out of. Should I be concerned about that?
Wait, what?
1,020 out of 1,000.
Yep. Your wires will start to melt in certain places. They'll take damage. So that's the thing. You're going to have to break something off of that circuit, put it on another circuit. So either get rid of something. Oh, now wait, hang on. Now that's potential load. So your options are either A, don't run everything at once. So being at its potential, it's probably counting your food machine. So let's say you don't run your food machine at the same time as, I don't know, what else you got on here? Yeah, there you go. If you just make sure your water sieve or your water skimmer's not running at the exact same time as your food machine, then you might be okay, if they're all on the same circuit. Trying to think. I don't know. But yeah, so that's the thing though. But if all those things do run at the exact same time and you go over that limit, there's a small chance it will start to damage wires. Or it's actually a decent chance, especially considering how much wires you have. You have a lot of wire here. Also, are your doors all wired in?
No.
Oh, that's not the door. That's your oxygen machine wired in. My bad. Okay, so yeah, I see it looks like you're using airlock doors. If you're using the automated airlock doors, you can wire them fuckers in so they open faster. Open and close. But like I said, that you don't need to do any of that for this base. Actually, you can put automatic switches on those things too, but you don't have to worry about any of that in your base. You generally just keep the doors open. The only reason you want to close the door is to keep a critter from coming in, or if you want to keep gases from moving, like an airlock door. That's really the only reason you ever want to close the door. Unless you have to worry about critters or airlocks, you're good. Oh, are you playing on the salty biome map? The saltwater, whatever it's called, the ocean?
No.
Oh, because I see you have some of those things to the left side there. Those crab dudes. Yeah, that looks like salt water.
Yeah, bookshelves.
Yeah, they live in saltwater. So there's saltwater, there's brine and stuff. There's saltwater above it too. Huh. Maybe you just happen to have that biome. If you play on the saltwater place, though, like half of the map's going to be that shit. Not even kidding. It's ridiculous. The other biomes could be really fun. Just remember, most of them are pretty challenging, so be prepared. But, I mean, it's not always a bad thing to play a die. You just have to realize that that's kind of part of the game, is the game's going to kick your ass. Oh, your guys are building the batteries and shit now. Right. So there's the fuel request threshold. Yep, so basically, I don't know if you know how that works. Once it reaches a certain point, yeah, they'll come back and put fuel in it. That's fine. So let's see, overlays. If you click those little overlays, there's one for an electrical overlay, and you'll see, where all your plugs go. It's probably more towards the end, maybe, or is it not one of those? Huh. Actually, well, either way, this is your automation overlay. If you go back to the very last tab, yeah, there you go. So see how your power plugs are there on the bottom left, and then for your generator, it's in the middle. I'm looking at your batteries and all. So if you click that last tab over there where you were on the overlays, the very last one, yeah, automation overlay. So see how it has in the middle, it also has the automation plug. And you'll see that automations have inputs and outputs. So see, it says with input, so that's an automation input there. And then your battery is going to have an automation output whenever you get the smart battery, that is. See, regular batteries don't have that, but a smart battery is going to have an automation output. And it's basically the battery's going to say...
It's going to run on until these are...
The way it is right now, I think it's just going to keep running. Yeah, see, like, the guy just ran and shut it off, I think.
Yeah, I did that. I commanded that.
Oh, you told him to. Okay. I was going to say, I think the generator might just run on its own. I'm not 100% sure how that works. I don't remember. I do recall there's some efficiency lost there if you don't have the smart battery. So I generally rush for the smart battery as soon as I can get the generator. But I normally, I wait a long time before doing generators and stuff. But, by the way, so here's a cool trick. So while it does suck having your dupes running on the wheel for so long time, it's not as terrible because they do get athletic skill, which makes them run faster later on. So, there's some benefit to it at least. So once I realize that they get athletic skill, I don't even mind the wheels for, I'll go dozens and dozens of cycles using just wheels. It depends. Then again, if I have like an ice biome right fucking next to me, I throw some generators down ASAP because that's going to soak up all the heat. You can put the generator right in that ice biome, and it's going to run nice and cold. Now keep in mind that's a cold generator you're running. It is going to put off carbon dioxide, as I recall. So that room's going to fill up with carbon dioxide, and it's probably going to flow over to somewhere. Just so you know.
Airlock.
Yeah, but I mean, when you open it up, there's gonna be like boom, tons of carbon dioxide because that room will fill up.
Double airlock.
Well, the thing is, though, what I'm trying to tell you is you don't want to lock it all in, because if you continue to lock it in for too long, it's going to build up pressure and pressure and pressure, and then your dupes are going to run into like work on the machine, and their eardrums are going to pop. That's actually a thing. They'll get popped eardrums. It's a negative status effect if they go into like several thousand kilograms of pressure.
I mean, I could put it so it comes down here, skimmer, does its dues.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can do it. I mean, you could dick with that later. You'll see as it goes on, pressure builds up and stuff. I'm just letting you know that you just be careful. There's too much pressure or too much carbon dioxide going to some place you don't want it. I'm sure you'll find a way to handle it. I mean, you don't really need a pump necessarily because technically carbon dioxide falls down. If you have, if you just have some way to get it out of there. So, let's see. Like, for example, you could open up the left side and just let that carbon dioxide fall off the left side of your base and just go somewhere that's not in the middle of your sleeping area. Yeah, just, I'm just giving examples of things you might be able to do. Or, by the way, what you could even do is put some kind of carbon skimmer or something in there or near it so that it'll catch all the carbon that comes out. So remember what I told you about the slickers, right? So a thing is, some people do, they'll have their generator or whatever, and they'll have it so that they have those air tiles that allow airflow. And then the carbon dioxide just like they'll put that somewhere near the bottom, and then the carbon dioxide falls down, and they have like a fucking slickster pit. The thing about the slicksters is you have to keep them at a certain temperature, which is like boiling hot temperature. So it's not usually feasible stuff for early base. But later on, it is not as bad. Looks like you have some ice machines going down there. So the one on the ladder is probably not going to work until you replace those ladders, maybe. But otherwise, I actually don't know much about ice machines. I've never really done them.
I watched a video.
I see videos where people put in they do cooling mechanisms with the ice machines, but I've actually never I've just never done it. It's just I mean, most of my hours were played before ice machine even added to the game.
16 KTUs and whatever a block of ice gives for cooling. Ice machines, I believe, were one of the few things that actually give cooling. It's small.
Yeah, it seems like it because I do recall people were creating cooling machines. Yeah, and it was small. Like there were some weird machines where it creates the ice and then they dump it and it falls into a pool of water or on the ground somewhere where it melts.
Yeah, it melts
Which
back.
Looks like you kind of have that set up, I think. So you have dump it into the ground.
Where's
Or
polluted water coming from?
Polluted water? Let's see.
Good.
I'm gonna go lay down, guys. Good night.
All right.
Good night.
These things poop.
No, they shouldn't. Wait, shine nymphs. I'm not sure what they do exactly. It'll tell you what they create. Yeah, look at the diet down there. The screen you were on. So there's the diet. It'll eat those things, phosphorite and all that. I don't see any thing that they excrete or nothing. Like if you click on the hatchling, you'll see the difference. Click on that hatchling that's running around your plants. Inside your farm, there's little hatchlings. You'll see they got all kinds of stuff. Oh yeah, cool. Damn, I didn't realize you have a bunch of hatchlings. So you'll see their diet. They eat almost everything, and they excrete coal, which is good. That's why I said people create like hatchling farms, and they'll get whatever kind of like dirt or not. I'm sorry, definitely don't feed them dirt. Dirt's good for stuff. But whatever kind of like stones that you don't use a lot of, like you have like a shit ton of sandstones later on, or igneous or whatever you're not using a ton of, just feed it all to them. You'll just create a pit, just throw them a bunch of them on the ground, they'll eat it. And then they create coal, and then your guys will grab the coal and feed the coal generator. Another cool thing, by the way, that you might want to you don't have to do that yet, but if you start organizing and cleaning stuff up later, like tidying up the base, because things on the ground will add to negative decor when you start doing decor. You have to get rid of all that. And so when you do that, you take what am I trying to say? One of the things you can put like in your furnace room is a one or two, probably usually like I do like two storage units and set them to do nothing but coal. They only store coal. And there'll be other buildings later on that use coal as well.
So it produces 30 kilograms of water, ice.
What's that? What produces?
The ice machine.
Oh, I see. Yep. Yeah, I'm not too clear exactly how that works. Let's see. Oh, that's the contents of it. That's how much it holds at a time.
It makes that much at a time.
If you look in probably the properties, or maybe I don't know. There might be a way to see. Let's see the heat. It shows the heated outputs, the auto inputs.
I'll put in 64.
Yeah, it makes 30 at a time. But check properties. It might show like how often it does it or something. Sometimes there's weird things that'll show in the properties. You never know. So yeah, I'd be cautious about the potential load of your electricity because those ice machines are probably going to start using a bit once you get them all going.
They're only 60 watts.
Yeah, but you got 4 of them, so was that 240 watts?
So what would be the next wire I need?
Well, I was gonna say if you want to do the automation for your thing, you can turn it down. Yeah, if you if you want to do the to turn your coal plant on and off on its own, you can set the automation wire and the smart battery. But it's up to you.
I still need to get refined metals.
Oh, you don't have the refinery yet. Yep, refineries. Now here's the thing: refinery puts off an absurd amount of fucking heat.
I heard you want that like middle of nowhere for when you first start.
Kind of.
So basically right here.
But now here's the thing though. So
like if I were building right here.
Well, hang on. The thing is though, it puts it off in the form of liquid, because it actually takes liquid in as a coolant, and then it puts off that liquid after it's been heated up. So you're gonna have to start working on liquid loops to get this thing to work right. And then you're also going to have somewhere to cool it. So the location doesn't matter, honestly, because I usually put them like somewhere on the edge of my base or almost practically in my base usually. Not where I'm sleeping, obviously, maybe, a few dozen tiles from there or so, but yeah, wherever. But the thing is, make sure you have cooling for it and maybe even cooling for the area around it. And use insulated pipes. So I see you're running some insulated tiles. Those are good. You might even you can get those make insulated pipes and set instead. Sorry, I'm tired.
It's holding that ice in the machine.
Oh. I don't remember. There's tutorial videos. You might have to get some kind of other machine to take the ice out of it or something. I really don't know. Or it has some kind of, feature for. I really don't know. I've actually never once used one. Shit, what was I talking about that? Oh, the cooling loops and stuff, right? So when it comes down to the cooling loop, that's the thing. You're going to want some cooling, and you're going to want a lot of it. Fuck. Nah, I'm trying to think of what's the best way to do it.
Diamond.
Ooh, what do you got down there? What kind of geyser is that?
Cool.
Is that cool steam? Nice. So there you go. You got water. The thing is, even though it says cool steam, it still comes out at like 100 degrees boiling temperature.
Yeah.
Or maybe even 100. I think it's 110.
So this is going to produce water.
Yeah, it's basically going to produce water. It's producing steam, but it turns into water, almost immediately.
Yeah. Sure.
But the problem is, it's still really hot. So if you start digging into that, you will have a lot of heat. Like if you turn on your temperature overlay while looking at that thing, you'll see how fucking hot it is. The whole area down there is going to be hot. Yeah, see how red all those red things? If you dig into those red things, it's just going to get that much more heat is going to go into your base. There you go. Look at your cooling things. They're putting out a lot of heat. Because that's basically what it's doing. Remember, like I said, cooling's not generally created; it's kind of transferred. Pause the game. That's an alarm that's going off. That noise. Somebody's suffocating. You got to get him out of there. He's down below half health. Yeah, you have to have somebody else. Wait, how did he? Okay, they have access from up above. Okay. Yeah, hopefully they get there in time. Wait, oh, is he breathing again? What happened there? Or was it the guy in the water? Was that the one that was?
Both.
I don't know. I'm confused.
That'll get done now.
Yeah, but basically, as you can tell, they're dumbasses. So you gotta listen to those alarms, and as soon as you hear one, pause the game because you never know what the fuck you're gonna run into. Ooh, oh, I'm sorry. I saw rust, and I thought that was so the icon for it, that little square cubey thing. That's what finished metals or processed metals are gonna look like. But that's not. That's actually just rust. Sure looks like processed metal though.
I got 5.
You can get processed metals from this thing though. It's very little. You only get like shit, I don't remember if it's a 50k or 100 kg, but it's enough to build a machine or two. I mean, unless the dupes are really good. Let's see. So this one is creativity and athletics. Now, as far as something like Night Owl, I wouldn't even really bother. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not a bad attribute, but it's not especially good. I'm just saying, like, some things are really good and some things are really bad. Most attributes are pretty just meh.
So where do I go to start looking for metals? There are diamonds right here.
Well, the metals that you have, the copper, the iron. You've probably already been mining copper and
I can refine that.
maybe even not. Yep, you're gonna be able to refine copper because that's what you're gonna need the refinery for. The refinery will turn copper. It turns copper ore into copper and iron ore into iron, and what is it? Gold ore into gold. Oh, here's a trick. An interesting trick, by the way. So remember about the temperature, how it puts out a shit ton of temperature, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have a hard time trying to control that temperature to begin with. So a thing to keep in mind is the amount of temperature that the furnace puts out, and it'll tell you this in the furnace somewhere, I think. But the amount of like whenever you go to run it, the amount of temperature it puts out, it depends on the type of metal it's using. So if you're making gold, it's very little because gold has a low melting point. So you can make processed gold so
I
much,
got iron ore
so much
right
easier. Yeah. If you happen to see gold, go ahead and grab that. I think gold's the easiest, then maybe copper, and then iron, and then there's also steel, which is good for later. You're gonna need an absolute shit ton of steel at some point that in the far distant
I have
future.
metal and copper and iron, so I just need gold.
Yep, steel's gonna be made from iron, obviously, and I'm trying to remember what you're gonna need. Maybe coal. And
What up, Slayer? How's it going?
lime, I feel like. Oh, that looks like gold. Go to the right, the east. That was gold on the east side, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And gold's usually in swampy biomes. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's gold in that swamp. There's gold, and then there's swamps. In fact, that's a tiny piece of gold right at the edge of it. Like you could touch it.
Where?
Just that little gap where that plant is. Yep, that's gold. No, I'm sorry, that's copper. Okay, I thought it was gold. But either way, if you mine in a straight line going east from there, if you have enough digging skill to get that, you can go straight east. And there's a little bit of gold. Careful with that slime out there. Remember, it can be troublesome if it's got slime lung in it. Or actually slime in general. Even without the slime lung, slime of any sort will start gassing slime. It'll put off polluted gas. It just won't have the slime lung in it, but it will be polluted gas, which allows slime lung to travel. So the slime lung will travel on air, but it'll eventually die on clean air. But on polluted air, it grows. It gets more and more and more. Germs in general are like that. Polluted air, germs grow. Clean air, germs, they do spread, but they slowly die. Same thing for water. They'll grow in polluted water, but they'll slowly die in clean water usually. Hey, what is up, Seal Lion?
Not much.
Anyway, I was actually just about to log off. I'm just trying to help Chief foot a couple things real quick, but yeah, otherwise, so let me think. You're basically going to want to look up
What's in here now?
You're going to want to look up like a refinery loop or cooling loop. Google a video of that somehow. Those desks, you can search for different things in them. See, there's a little inspect button at the bottom, and they'll just have loot of some sort. Basically, there might be like a snack, or usually every one of those the areas is going to have like a little note or something, and it gives you a little bit of lore of what happened, before, like how you ended up here and what happened. So, not to ruin the big surprise of the game or anything, but I will kind of ruin a bit of it. I don't think you were ever intentionally supposed to end up in the middle of an asteroid. That was just kind of a fluke thing that happened, and now you're here. But you gotta like learn this lore of the story of what happened, how'd you get here, yada yada. But anyway, I'm actually
You
gonna
may
log
take
off
a look at your big ass asteroid, and you may say to yourself, "Self, how did I get here?"
Oh, that's right. There's a printing pod that prints humans out of thin air. I'm sorry, duplicants out of thin air.
As the
Anyway.
days go by, carbon dioxide all around.
All right, good night, everybody.
Later.
But yeah, Chief, just look up like basically refinery loops,
Holy fuck,
cooling
it's
loop.
Hannibal.
But yeah, you look up refinery or refinery loop, you'll find some videos on it, I'm sure. But effectively, you need to have something to cool the liquid, because the refinery heats up the liquid. You need some other
Fuck,
machine
let's just kill
or
it.
system that cools it. Which could be if you find a cold biome, run that fucking pipe loop right through it, or put your refinery in the middle of it. Whatever, it don't matter. It also uses a lot of power, so that's why you generally have to have it near a power plant, or just build another power plant. Whatever. Anyway, good night.
Night.
I'm so happy to be off this weekend.
So, Hannibal actually fucking loaded into the game. And he just started attacking southern Italy. Just randomly. And now he's dead. That was unexpected.
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display. Awaiting targets. Quick march! Commander, have one of the enemy! Sons of Mars! Sons of Mars! Advance! Principes! In service of Rome, as you command! Missile infantry! One of our units has used all its ammunition. Romans, ready for duty. Roma, obediamos. General, forward. Ready. Advance at speed. Jupiter gives us strength. shameful display. Romans, ready for duty. Melee troops awaiting orders.
I'm down to my last unit. But I think I might be able to win this.
The battle is turning in our favor.
Nice. Yeah. That was cool. Principe or hold it down. Got just a basic garrison defeated Hannibal. How shitty is that for Hannibal? Nice, and I got 462 slaves. Or, well, wealth from slaves.
Great.
Our general is under attack. Jupiter gives us strength and speed. Double time. March. The enemy general is dead. Principe. Quick march. Your orders.
Oh my god. Fucking hate Jen.
Who?
Fucking
I'm not sure if it's Jen or Jin.
Jen. Like, champion in World of War or in League of Legends.
Ah.
Brave Romans to a man. Advance and ready and waiting. Melee troops. General. Battle group awaiting orders. Battle glory. Romans ready for duty. Fire on the enemy. Hold position. Roma. Quick march. Sons of Mars. Double time. Lilies. Look out. Your orders. The men are wavering. Principes! Back now! Jupiter gives us strength! And the double! Melee troops awaiting orders! Round Romans all! Actions! One of our units has used all its ammunition. Infantry! Brave Romans to a man! By your command, engage! Ready and waiting! Principes! Melee infantry at your command! The battle is turning in our favor. For glory!
Maybe if I run these guys down, they'll stop fucking fighting. I don't think I'm not gonna be able to catch him.
of Rome. At your command. We hunger for battle. Mars be praised.
Fucking really? Carthage is being a dick this time. Alright, well, we'll take Leia.
Glad our jungler's a duo with the top laner.
The Commander, we take this settlement for Rome! Besieging settlement! We hunger for battle! Ready for battle! Ready for further orders. Yes. Can you not? this offer of coins. We hunger for battle. To battle! All hands to the oars! Kill the cowards! Your orders? Returning to shore. Commander? Make haste, men! You have further orders? Ready for battle! My wit, for Rome, I would journey to the ends of the earth. At your command. Haste, men! Carthage offers you the chance to live. You would be wise to take it.
At your service, swift and silent as a shadow. That is beyond even my considerable talents. All work.
Enter, friend, and speak. We surely have much to discuss. Note.
The guards will have me listen to. Be welcome here, and speak as you wish. I welcome you, worthy speaker. I listen.
Oh,
You're good.
what?
Greetings, friend. We will speak together of whatever you wish. I am sure that
God, that was gay.
Greetings. There will...
Well met, friend.
Greetings. Now speak. I do not... Be welcome. But may Athena... The... Ready for battle. Advance. At your command. On the move. Ready for orders. Besieging settlement. We hunger for battle. March at your command. Advance. We cannot pass here.
Oh, bye.
How can I be of assistance?
Didn't want you anyway.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. It sounds like somebody joined and then they
Why don't
immediately
you-
left.
I'm gonna go play some PUBG.
Alright,
I'll
You're
see-
gay.
take it easy.
Trade is the gateway to prosperity. Will you not pass within? Ah, my friend, if the wisdom you possess were golden treasure, you could buy the known world. We hunger for battle.
Did you say something?
I'm talking to myself.
Commander? How can I serve Rome? We hunger for battle. March! Brave Romans, to a man! Proud Romans all! Principes! Rome is mother to us all! Our eastern foes are not used to proper battles, and it would be rude.
Enemy reinforcements approaching.
They seem strangely eager to reach their benighted and wicked afterlife. So let's oblige them. To arms! Victory for Rome! Ready for orders! Break the line! Ready! Attack their position! Missile infantry! Valientes!
Oh no, my foot's asleep.
The enemy general is dead.
Marching order! Equities! Riders! Ready! Forward! Principes! Hold position! Sons of Mars! Has started! Melee troops awaiting orders!
We have captured the gates.
Double time! Romans, ready for duty! Awaiting orders! Commander, ready! And forward! Equities! Swift melee cavalry! Equities! Draw quickly now! By your command! Equities!
God, right now I'm so glad that I don't work in a major city.
Right?
At the double! Missiles awaiting targets!
Like, I mean, even here in Knoxville, things are fine.
Artillery for Rome! Commander!
But for now,
Swift melee cavalry!
They're actually okay here, too.
but I mean, we have like 10 black people in the whole county, so where I work.
And you feel like black people are the problem? Is that what you want to say on my stream?
No, I'm saying that they're the ones rioting, protesting, whatever you want to call it.
This is accurate.
Looting.
Your orders!
The men are wavering.
Melee infantry at your command! Hold Romans all! Principes! Equities!
The battle is turning in our favor.
Valientes! Ready! Engage! Romans ready for duty! Sons of Mars!
We have captured the gates.
Principes! General! Ride out! Ready and waiting! Principes! To engage! Your orders! Ready and waiting! Riders! Flying wedge!
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
General! Run forward! Principes! Melee infantry!
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Commander!
Capture the gates!
Jupiter gives us strength! Principes! Romans, ready for duty! Infantry ready! Principes! Advance at speed! Mars!
I am kicking Carthage's ass this game. Which is weird because I feel like they've been a lot more aggressive than normal. It's an unusual playthrough.
Waiting for more orders. At your command. Ready for battle. At your command. Hunger for battle. Your command.
The people of Carthage would like to offer you a gift of gold.
See, 6,000 dinars, and I don't have to go over to Africa. And I can finish conquering Syracuse. Yeah, sure, why not? I need the money anyways. Does not sound like a bad plan to me.
to serve Rome. At your command. Do your duties, men. Ready for orders.
They just left their city open. Might as well take it. Plus 45% mercenary punishment.
What do you on the road again? Swift and silent as a shadow. As you command.
We hunger for battle. Laying siege to the settlement. Ready for orders.
general is dead. One of our units has used all its ammunition. Commander, advance! Orders. One of our units has used all its ammunition. Equities! To engage! Forward! Sons of Mars! Hack them down! One of our units has used all its ammunition. We have discovered the enemy's hidden units. Missiles ready and waiting. At the double. We have discovered the enemy's hidden units. Proud Romans all! Velites! Advance at speed! Missiles awaiting targets. Battle group awaiting orders. Quick march! Velites! Double time!
Damn.
Well, that was fun. I'm going to end my League of Legends gaming tonight on a high note.
Might be a good call.
I had 8 kills, 1 death, and 13 assists.
Nice.
That's a 21 KDA.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
I was the MVP. According to this, I downloaded somebody in a game that I was playing. I mentioned that I set up the character wrong, and they're like, download this this program. It like sets up the characters for it. Like you don't have to like manage all that shit. It does it for you before the game. And I downloaded it, and like so it imports the runes and the item builds for you. So all you have to do is follow that, and then after the game, it gives you a recap and tells you like what you did well and what you can improve on.
That's cool.
One of our units has used all its
So like it told me, MVP, KDA god. So I had the highest KDA in the game. I was part of 88% of the team kills early game. I won the lane, first blood. I was the richest player in the game. In fact, I accounted for the entirety of the gold lead that we had. It just I wasn't as good with my vision as I could have been. Is what it basically says. Dude, I bought that City Skylines Humble Bundle.
I haven't played City Skylines. Is it worth it?
It's fun. I mean, it's $18 for a shit ton of DLC. It's a Paradox game, so it gets better as more DLC comes out.
Okay, so I think I have completely defeated Syracuse at this point. I've completely defeated the Etruscans. I think I've completely defeated Syracuse. And I've humiliated Carthage into giving me 6,000 denarii. Now I think I've completely defeated Carthage.
Ow. Just randomly
Not
got super
Carthage.
loud.
The
There we
Etruscans.
go.
I did?
No, the game.
Mm. Hold at least one settlement in the following provinces: Illyria, Macedonia, Hellas. I can do that.
Enter, friend, and speak. We surely... No
You are welcome. I do not think our people want.
Okay, nobody wants to trade with me.
Greetings. We are civilized. My people are wealthy in intellect.
Which is
and
crazy,
do not need
because
your
I've got...
goods to add to their material wealth.
I'm producing wine, and I'm producing olive oil. Which you'd think people would want.
Today is a good day to discuss topics. Your trade goods are of... A flapping tongue that speaks without wisdom is not... I do not think our people...
Oh well.
How can I help? 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on.
Lend you 5 for tensis. Tapa.
I live to serve Rome. Ready for orders.
My skills are yours. On the road again.
We will gladly listen to your offers, but do... I...
As you command. Skills are yours.
I live to serve Rome. My wits and words are yours. Ready for orders.
Alright. This should be my last turn tonight. Or close to my last turn.
We hunger for battle. At your command. Commander.
At your service. On the road again. No further. How can I be of assistance?
I live to serve Rome. Yes.
How may I serve?
Ready for battle. Make haste, men.
see what else we got to do before we log off here. Looks like we've fixed our income. We have reduced our army somewhat. This character's gravitas is too low. Okay. Well, he needs to get out there and make a name, doesn't he?
We hunger for battle. Advance. Commander. At your gathering supplies. Ready for battle. To your duty. Ready for orders. Ready for... I want hourly patrols. Ready for orders. Make haste. At your command. My ancestors have...
Nope. Water's sluicing.
Ready for orders. Advance. We hunger for battle. Ready for gathering supplies. We hunger for battle. March. At ease, man. Ready for orders. Commander. At your command.
Alright, we're gonna call that we're going to completely explore the Mediterranean when we come back. Alright, that's it.